Lee Major, did you get your flu vaccine yet?
With the flu season coming up, we all have to help protect ourselves by getting the flu vaccine. If you're over 65 like me, you gotta even be more careful. Our immune system may not be as strong as it used to be, so we have to do everything we can to keep the flu from catching up with us. So ask about your vaccine options, because if you're a tough guy like me, you may need a tough vaccine. Visit the National Council on Aging at ncoa.org/flu to learn more about vaccine options for people 65 and older.
I'm Ed Zackery, Director of the Medina County Veterans Service Office. Welcome to Salute to Service, a show about Medina County and our veterans. What we hope to capture in this program are some of the many achievements, heroic deeds, and sacrifices of our past and present warriors from here in Medina County. We also hope to highlight the many accomplishments that they have continued to make as veterans right here in our community. Again, welcome to Salute to Service. Today I have Petty Officer First Class Mr. Donald Kreuder. Don, how you doing today?
Very well indeed.
Good to have you on the show.
Good to be here.
So, you're originally from Buffalo, right?
Right.
Settled here in Medina after the war, obviously.
Well
after some time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Petty Officer First Class. So how long did it take you to make that rank in the Navy?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Which was pretty quick, I believe.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so what did you were obviously in during World War II. Mm-hmm. When did you join the Navy?
When did I join? Well, on my week after my 17th birthday. So.
Okay. What year?
Well, 43.
1943. You know, I mean, 1943. It's 2 years after Pearl Harbor, right? The war's going on. You were in high school when Pearl Harbor happened, then, right?
Well, it's another story. The war was on. I was in high school, and I thought this is ridiculous. So I went to work in a shipyard, which turned out to be a good thing because it zipped me right through the ranks as a shipfitter. So,
oh, okay.
So that worked out very well, and that's about that.
So you didn't quit? Did you quit school to go work in the shipyard?
Yeah.
And then you felt as though you needed to go do your part in the Navy, or
right?
Then you enlisted in the Navy, right?
Exactly.
Where did you go off to basic training or boot camp?
Well, I had boot camp at Sampson. I went to Great Lakes Naval Training Station up in Illinois, and from there to the ship itself, I volunteered. I had no idea what an ARL was. All I knew was I didn't want to miss the whole darn war, so I volunteered.
You wanted to get into the fight,
It turned out to be an amphibious repair landing. So we repaired more destroyers than landing craft, but...
and you were only on one ship, though, the whole time, right?
Yeah, the same one.
What was the name of the ship?
Endymion, USS Endymion.
So after basic training and everything, you got assigned to the ship. Where was the ship at when you got assigned to it?
The ship was in Baltimore. We christened it in Baltimore, took the shakedown cruise in Chesapeake Bay, and then on to Norfolk and through the canal and up to San Diego and then Pearl Harbor, and from there to Guadalcanal, and then we bounced up.
Up through the South Pacific.
Yeah.
What was going through the Panama Canal like in 1943
oh, it was great.
Was it?
It was great. It was a very enjoyable trip.
Did you stop at either end of it, or did you just sail right through?
No, we sailed right through.
Sailed right through. I would imagine that the security and everything of the canal was...
Let me say that, and I got to change my mind here. We did spend a little time in Panama City before we went through the canal.
Any girls down there?
Oh, yes.
So, obviously, you know, the war is going on full stream in 1943, 44, and you're going to Panama. You get over to San Diego, and then you said you sailed out of Pearl Harbor eventually. Where was the first, you know, engagement that you met, you know?
Guadalcanal, but that was pretty light. And then Peleliu was a full-scale invasion, but not a real big one. Then we were involved at Leyte and Samar.
Okay.
And as I said, from there we went to Guam, from there to Okinawa. We were at Okinawa for 3 months. The invasion was April 1st. We were there in May and June, near the end of June. And then we were being sent back to get reloaded and everything for the invasion of Japan. And Okinawa we were at for a long time. As I said, it was all kamikazes. That was a little exciting.
Well, let's back up a little bit. So you're going into Guadalcanal was the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your ship was a repair ship. So
Right.
you had mentioned earlier it was like just like an LST, except the doors didn't open. So
Exactly.
and so what was your job? I mean, what did you do?
As a ship fitter, we repaired anything that was damaged. I mean, battle damage, weather damage.
On other ships that were in the fleet, I
Yeah.
assume.
Oh yeah. We worked on more destroyers than we did landing craft.
So you were a diver though. You had to dive
Yeah,
to
the
go down and
diving,
repair the
we
ships and
dove
stuff.
on everything there, destroyers and big supply ships and anything that got damaged.
Right, and we got a picture.
Underwater.
We got a picture of you in your diving gear, and I mean that's quite extensive. So, you're out, I mean, obviously they weren't taking these ships back to any kind of to dock or anything. You just dive right there in the ocean and fix them up, right?
Right.
That's why I joined the Army. So you were underwater welding and stuff like that, all sorts of different things. Wow.
If there's any welders out there, the reason we could use electric welding underwater was it was coated with a special coating, and that shot oxygen down there to give it sort of a dry spot to weld on.
Wow.
The biggest fun of that was when you're under a small ship, 30 to 60 feet, and you're welding over your head or this way, it didn't matter. And then the ground swells would grab you and go bang. And
up against the
that's
ship.
why we wore all the long underwear.
Wow. So, I mean, obviously, even being a repair ship, you know, over in Guadalcanal and Pelu and stuff, I mean, you saw quite a bit of combat yourself. I mean,
Not much at Guadalcanal,
No.
but from Pelu on, we saw pretty much all of it the rest of the war.
So was it air attacks? Was it submarines? Was
Mostly air attacks, and of course we did get torpedoed on the way home.
Now, how did that happen? I mean, what happened there?
Well, I say we spent almost 3 months at Okinawa. We left there, and on the 21st of June, we left for Pearl Harbor. On the 21st at 6:30 in the morning, here come these torpedoes. One went across the bow, two of them went directly under us or swerved. I was right above it in a gun tub, so I'm not sure where. And I got a big thrill out of that because the ship, we thought it was just going to go like that. It was stood up on its nose and then flopped back. And according to the Navy report, 250 gallon of water went skyward.
Wow.
And I was like right here in that stern gun tub. And I think most of it came down on my head. I know that that was exciting
Most of
for
the
a
water.
few minutes, yeah.
So obviously the ship didn't sink or anything. You guys
No,
repaired.
no.
You repaired the ship then.
No, yep. Well, we kind of limped back into Anahuac and got temporary repairs
Temporary
that got us
repairs.
back to Pearl, yeah.
Wow. So anything that stands out, like, you know, memorable experiences or, you know, things that happen that are like, you know, stand out as something that you've remembered your whole life and has impacted you or anything like that?
Well, I certainly remember the torpedo wing for
I
sure.
assume so, yes.
And the kamikazes, and like I said, for a repair ship, we had a pretty good record there. We had six positives that we shot down, kamikazes. They were going down anyway, but we got them before they hit a ship.
Right.
And then we got 2 assists.
And for not being a combat ship, that's
Yeah,
quite a bit, I
yeah,
assume,
that's where we got the name the Little Cruiser, by the crew, of
Okay,
course.
yeah. So they thought you were almost a combat ship
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point.
right.
Wow, that's pretty good. When did you get out of the service?
Oh, let's see, April 15th, 46.
46. And where did you get out at?
And I was discharged from New York, Lido Beach, New York, and went back to Buffalo to my little girl, and we were married May 18th, and we're still married.
Still married, 68
Yeah.
years
We
later.
got it right the first time, right.
So where did you meet your wife at?
At a big club, we had an aunt that our families were friends, and we had never met each other. And Gloria was just this short of being engaged, I understand. And I was kind of carefree. And I met her, and it was like the old-fashioned love at first sight, I think, for both of us. So we were engaged when I was somewhere in the South Pacific, I don't know, by mail.
By mail, huh?
By mail.
Did you mail her a ring or just a letter?
Yeah, just a letter.
There you go.
No ring. We made about $24 a month then.
So you were on Liberty or on leave or pass or something. Was that between like basic training and going and shipping out?
No,
or
we didn't have many liberties. I say we had 2 in my entire time there. We had a real leave, and that's when I met Gloria. And then the next time I had to leave, we dated, and then I was gone.
Wow. Love at first sight, 68
Love
years
at
later.
first sight. We got it right the first time.
That's a good track
right.
record. So you come back home and you're put out of the service. You get out. What's a guy doing? How old were you? You were 20.
I was 20 years old.
20 years old at that point. What's a guy looking for to do once he gets out of the service?
Well, as you know, at that time, I don't care where you lived, there were 20 or 30,000 other guys coming back looking for work. And I had a little experience in the foundry on the ship, so I checked into one of those, and I was there for 5.5 years.
And you did foundry work.
Yeah,
Where was that at?
In Buffalo.
In Buffalo.
Bison Castings, Buffalo, New York. Yeah.
And then you went on to a career in sales and stuff like that years later.
Yeah.
When did you move to Medina?
Let's see, it would have been 1970, I believe.
You've been here ever since.
Yep.
We're glad to have you here.
Yeah, we're glad to be here. We like it.
So Don, let me ask you a question. You enlisted, so you obviously got to pick or choose which service you went into. Why'd you pick the Navy?
Well, my dad was in it for a short time in World War I.
Okay.
And I just always liked the Navy, that's all.
So you had it in your blood.
Nothing wrong with the Army and Marines, but I wanted the water. I love the ocean.
I think the Navy, the food's a little better in the Navy anyway, so
Yep.
there you go. So you served over in the South Pacific during World War II. Obviously, you got a couple medals. You know which ones?
Well, we don't want to get those out of proportion to the same ones everybody got that was in.
So you got like the Asiatic Pacific Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, stuff like
and
that.
the combat medal, and
Right.
that's about it.
Any friends or anybody from the ship you still stay in contact with?
There's one gentleman by the name of John Lang, lives around Pittsburgh. We're the only 2 that we've been able to find. That are left to the end. The crew was 255, and I guess they're all gone. So,
how big is an LST or a repair ship? How big was it?
350 feet long with a 50-foot beam.
So that's not very big for 250 guys.
No, not as ships go.
What's it like being on board a ship with 250 guys out in the middle of the ocean?
Well, it was fine. We had a lot of friends.
Did you? Yep.
A lot of friends, and of course, as a petty officer first, I had choice quarters, so
There
that
you
was
go.
good.
So you became very close, and there's a bond that y'all.
Oh,
you
sure.
got, yeah. And I think that's common in any service.
Oh, I'm sure it is, right.
Whether you're in a foxhole or whether you're in a bunk with a guy 6 inches above your nose sleeping, right? What was it like the day that you heard the war had ended?
I'm going home.
Feel pretty
And
good?
I'm
Or?
going to get married. Of course, I felt very good. That was an odd situation, too. We had come back to Pearl, and when the war ended, we were in Waianae, I believe is the name of it, in Hawaii, at gunnery school, shooting down drones.
From the ship?
Yeah. No, from land.
Oh, from land, okay.
Yeah, they kept running drones by, and we kept shooting them down. A little late for that, but that's what they did with us. So on VJ Day, we each got 2 bottles of beer, which I don't drink, beer. And some of the guys sold them for $5 a bottle.
Well, the beer must have been shortage
the beer
down there.
was short, right.
Yeah. So you guys celebrated, and you already knew you were going to go home and get married eventually.
Oh,
huh?
yeah.
So did you when was the next time you talked to your wife? When you saw her, when you came home, or?
Face to face, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, when I came home.
So no phone calls or anything like that when the war had ended?
Oh, sure, we made phone
And
calls.
what was her feelings when you knew the war had ended?
Well, I like to think she was as happy as I was.
There you go. That's a great story. 68 years later, still
Yeah,
married too.
right.
Gotta love it. Anything else you want to talk about as far as, I guess, the question I always ask people is, your time in service. Obviously, it's a special time in your life.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe not when you're serving, but when you're done, you realize.
I think it serves you through the rest of your life. I think everybody should have a few years of it.
How do you think it impacted you the rest of your life and made you the person you are today?
Well, I was more relaxed about everything, and everything came easy, and I don't know how to explain it. It was just a good time.
After a couple torpedoes go underneath you, everything else is pretty good, right?
That was exciting. Oh, there were a couple of other exciting minutes. I know when I was down diving in full gear, I was down about 85 feet, and all of a sudden one ear popped, so I'm completely deaf on the left side, but that's all the damage I had.
What happened?
Just timing. I should have come up a little earlier than I did, I guess.
Okay.
So something popped. So I have a little difficulty with hearing.
Ever since then, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Which is all right.
Anything else you want to add?
There isn't too much. Well, the diving jobs were fun with the sharks and the barracuda, and once you get used to them floating around over you all the time, you get used to it.
See, that's another good reason to join the Army. Yeah. There's no sharks or barracuda out there.
That's probably true.
All right. Well, Don, I want to thank you for coming on and Salute to Service today.
Okay. Well, I was glad to be here. Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to your generosity, Marines have delivered Christmas to children in need since 1947.
Good morning, students, and welcome to Career Day. I hope you're excited to hear about all the great things you can do when you grow up.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily. I'm super excited to introduce my dad because he's my hero. When I was little, my dad was away a lot. But I was okay with that because he was doing this really important work, driving ambulances in Iraq. Now he's at home, which is great for me because I get to see him every day now. And he's still the biggest hero I know because he tells all the ambulances and the fire engines where to go and rescue people when there's an emergency. I'm so proud of him. He's awesome. He's my dad.
If your service-connected disability prevents you from continuing in your civilian career, Voc Rehab offers counseling, training with a living allowance, education, and other services to help prepare you for your next mission.